The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
.908 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand, taking a victory lap around the Super Talk studios today. Donald J. Trump. He can officially call himself 45 and 47. And we're here for it. Absolutely incredible light last night. And we thank everybody for showing up at the Wilson County Fairgrounds for that election party.
Heck of a crowd.
I mean, what a beautiful crowd. What an amazing
cool.
audience. We have the best listeners, and to be able to watch that with you is going to stay in my memories. It's going to be one of my fondest memories until I am old and gray and long gone. That night will always have a special place in my heart. Thank you for being a part of it. I really appreciate you guys, whether you were listening or watching on the stream or you were there with us. How cool was that?
That was awesome.
How cool was that? You knew at a certain point in the night it was probably going to go that way. When you start seeing the salt from MSNBC and Joy Reid coming on TV and starting to blame white women for not showing up, you're like, oh, this is probably not a good sign for them.
You know, it's a really bad sign when the Harris campaign goes completely dark and starts cleaning up cups and whatnot from the party zone at HQ.
At one point, I was like, you're looking at both the parties on the screen. And you're like, all right, quick vibe check. You know, if you didn't know anything about politics and you just looked at the parties, which party do you think is the winning party?
Who do you think is standing on top after this? Yeah.
Honestly.
I was like, the massive crowd at the Trump HQ was wild compared to the vacant desert that was at the Kamala Harris HQ there.
You love to see it.
We're here for it.
So a lot of talk is going to be today about Donald Trump recreating the Republican Party. And no doubt he has. No doubt he has. he has completely eviscerated the old school neocon Republican class. You got to get in line with Trump. That's the way to go. And I'm excited to see what happens when he hits the ground running. You know, his transition team is already in place. They are ready to go. And I see an era of prosperity that is going to be unrivaled, Lord willing. And I do believe Donald J. Trump won last night because the Lord was willing to allow it. All the glory to God. He's been in the details since he turned Donald Trump's head July 13th in Butler, Pennsylvania. I fully believe that. Fully believe it. But you also have to understand that while Trump remade the Republican Party, he's also completely remade the Democrat Party. And this is not going to get a lot of conversation today, but I think he deserves the credit. We could have been in store for a fourth Obama term with the candidate that he supported, that he went out and put his legacy on the line to shill for by pushing hoaxes that have even been debunked by Snopes. He was on stage just a few days ago, less than a week ago, talking about the very fine people hoax. And what we saw was nobody cared. Nobody showed up. And he was willing to put his legacy on the line for a trash candidate. He's no longer the kingmaker of the Democrat Party. Kamala Harris, she's done, right? Like, she doesn't have a career after this. You would have to imagine that she is going to drift off into obscurity and we'll never have to hear from her again. That is a best-case scenario. We also could hear from her very soon, and maybe she's going to go Hillary Clinton, Russia, Russia, Russia. Maybe she goes full Stacey Abrams. Who knows? Who knows? But the Democrat Party is not the same today as it was just a few days ago. And we can thank Donald Trump for that. We can. He's remade two parties. Make no mistake about it. And the Democrats are in full rebuild mode. Now, at the same time, we have a golden opportunity in front of us because a man who they tried to stop at every single turn could not be denied. And I'm here for it. I'm feeling good. They tried to impeach him. It failed. They went after him with lawfare. It failed. They tried to kill him. It failed. And here we are. They called him Hitler. They called him a dictator. They called him a fascist. They called him every phobe, every ism. And it failed. The American people were too smart for it. And one of the reasons is that nobody trusts legacy media anymore. We just don't. And you can see that playing out in the podcast strategy that Donald Trump put on the field by going on with streamers like Aiden Ross, the Nelk Boys, Theo Vaughn, Joe Rogan. He showed that you don't need to go on 60 Minutes. In fact, you can make the argument that 60 Minutes is one of the things that hurt Kamala Harris the most. Kamala Harris being a weak candidate hurt Kamala Harris the most. And part of me wonders if it's just the Democrats trying to get her out of the way for 2028. There's probably some truth to that. But today, we're walking a fine line. I want to be able to take this victory in humbly and not boast. You know, I want to do the Christian thing and be gracious in winning. But I also want to know, where are all the liberals that have been sending hate texts? Where are you guys at today? Where's my Matt from Smyrna's? Who was the guy that trolled me the other day? Was it Brian? Brian from somewhere. It was a good troll. I'll give him that. But where's he at? Should we do a wellness check on our liberal friends today?
I am curious to check in with Pam, our resident independent there as well.
We got to check in with some people. We got to check on some friends. 615-737-9986. Matt from Smyrna, you doing all right? I mean, unbelievable. Unbelievable. We have control of the Senate. We're looking good in the House. It is going to be a heck of a 4 years. But with the victory last night, let's enjoy it. And let's understand the absolute mountain of work before us. We got a lot of work to do. We got world peace to make. We got an economy to thrive. We need an economy to thrive for everybody. We need to secure that southern border. And I envision it's going to happen very quickly. I'm here for it to happen very quickly. And we got a lot of work today. We're going to be busy monitoring The View, monitoring Morning Joe, and mining salt from everywhere in between: CNN, MSNBC, NBC, ABC, CBS. We're here for it. This is absolutely a moment that we'll never forget. Donald J. Trump, your president-elect. I also had the thought, can we get a cool office of the president-elect set like Joe Biden did for Donald Trump, and we could start doing press conferences like that? That annoyed me to no end in 2020. I don't know if it annoyed you to no end, but when he had that stupid little desk with the fake little seal and it said office of the president-elect, it really got under my skin, and maybe we can return the favor to our leftist friends. Maybe. It would be nice. It would be nice. But you knew at a certain point last night it was going our way. And you knew it was going our way when the leftists over at MSNBC, they just couldn't understand what they were witnessing. They couldn't. Nicole Wallace on MSNBC, she really had a hard time wrapping her head around the concept that young men think the economy would be better under Donald Trump. I love that flex. It never was. It never was. This is why they lost. Losers like Nicole Wallace at MSNBC. But I heard that early in the night. I'm like, ooh, this is a good sign. This is a good sign. And then when Joy Reid started pointing the finger at white women, I was like, all right, this is starting to feel good. The race lady over at MSNBC is blaming white women. No, it was white ladies. They had an opportunity to save women's reproductive rights. When I heard this clip last night, I mean, this is almost around 11 o'clock our time. I was like, they're cooked. They're absolutely cooked. This is the rats fleeing the ship, right? You knew the writing was on the wall at that point. Oh, it's white women, and they had an opportunity to fix this, but they voted along party lines and race lines. Hey, aren't the Democrats the ones who said if you have a problem choosing to vote between me and Donald Trump, then you ain't black? The Democrats are the ones that tend to fall along race lines. The Republicans are actually just welcoming to everybody. But you saw that start to trickle in. You saw the salt start to come in last night, and you knew it was going to be a good night. You knew it was going to be a good night. And it was a good night. It was an excellent night. And Donald Trump getting up there at, 3 a.m. on the East Coast, 2 a.m. our time, giving a victory speech. Man, it was the best victory speech I'd ever seen. I was here for it. It was, the energy in that crowd was absolutely electric. Absolutely electric. You heard Dana White coming up, giving his piece, saying, this is karma. This is karma. And he's absolutely right. This is karma. For everything you've done to this man, the American people sent a middle finger at the mainstream media establishment, at the Democratic establishment, and at the political establishment.
Nobody deserves this more than him, and nobody deserves this more than his family does. This is what happens when the machine comes after you. What you've seen over the last several years, this is what it looks like. Couldn't stop him. He keeps going forward. He doesn't quit. He's the most resilient, hardworking man I've ever met in my life. His family are incredible people. This is karma, ladies and gentlemen. He deserves this. They deserve it as a family.
I love it. This is karma, ladies and gentlemen. This is karma. And now it's time to get to work. It's 9:21 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. At 9:35, John Tillman of the American Culture Project, he's the CEO over there. He's going to be joining us for some instant reaction. Plus, we'll get to your phone calls, your instant reaction at 615-737-9986. We'll do that next. It's 9:21 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
So, what does the rest of the world think about Donald Trump's election as U.S. president? Well, we'll hear what at least two world leaders think about it. That's all coming up at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All I do is win, 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 no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up. And they stay there.
927 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. We're just taking our victory lap right now. Of course, the boss walks in the studio as I'm playing hip hop on a conservative news talk station, right? Hey, we're feeling the vibes today. Donald J. Trump is going to be your 47th president of the United States of America. Are you feeling as good as I'm feeling? Calvin in Lebanon, your thoughts on the results from last night? Can you put the phone up? Calvin in Lebanon's up. Hey, Calvin, you there?
Hey.
What's up, man?
Hey, I started to call earlier in the week and say, if Donald won, do we get one day just to rub it in their face?
I think. Listen, this is what I'm battling with myself today. It's like, do I go the humble victor route, or do I call my liberal sister in Massachusetts and say, how you feeling?
Well, I'll just say this. After the 4 years that we've had, and then 8 years before Donald Trump, I think we get one day. I just want to say this. Anybody that's not down with the MAGA movement and standing behind our president, Donald Trump, get on a jetliner and get your butt out of this country and take your money with you, and don't ever look back. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you, because we're going to make this country great with you or without you, and we don't need you. But if they want to blame the white women or whoever it is, it goes back to what Dan said when Biden first won. There's nothing worse for a liberal than a liberal in office. But you know what? You can only lead the blind. And Donald Trump is fixing to lead us. Yep. If you don't like it, get on a jetliner and get the crap out of here.
I love it. Calvin, the distinguished gentleman from Lebanon, Tennessee. I was so happy to see you last night, man. I appreciate the call.
Yep, thank you.
Absolutely. All right, let's go to William on the road real quick. Will, what you got?
Hey, good morning, Chris. First time calling into your show. Long-time listener. First-time streamer. I wanted to thank WWTN 99.7 for being on the air last night. My wife and I were so confused between ABC, CBS, MSNBC. Couldn't get the truth out of nobody until I remembered, hey, those guys are live streaming. My wife would not allow me to change the channel after I brought you guys on the live stream, large TV in the living room. Great job.
Man, I love hearing that. You clearly have a brilliant wife.
Hey, except for the hippie dude y'all had on stage last night, it was a great presentation on the live stream. Love you guys, man. I'm a good listener. Thank you.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. That's William on the road. You know, me and William have something in common. We have great taste in women. You know, my wife was watching us on the stream last night as well. Thank you to everybody that was at the party, listening either on 99.7 FM or watching us on the YouTube stream. There's so many ways to stay on top of Super Talk, whether you're listening on the iHeartRadio app, the TuneIn app. Obviously, Super Talk TV is a huge part of that. And I have to also give a huge props to our crew here. I mean, we have some of the best engineers and promo staff in the entire radio industry. And as a guy that's hopped around different radio markets, I can tell you that with full sincerity, they're the best. And we wouldn't have been able to do any of the stuff that we did last night without those guys working tirelessly behind the scenes. So, you know, give the credit to those guys for helping us do what we do as well as we could do it. So, you know, huge props to them. All right, after with the news with Jay Harper, we're going to talk with John Tillman from the American Culture Project. He is the CEO over at the American Culture Project. I'm really looking forward to this conversation. His instant reaction on what happened last night. It does still seem like we're in a bit of a daze. I feel like I'm floating. Is this Cloud 9? Is that what this feels like? I think it might be Cloud 9. We'll talk to him next. Immediately following that, we'll get into more of your phone calls, your instant reaction. Plus, we still got to play that epic DJT victory speech here from 47 on the way on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. 31 minutes past 9 a.m. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. We'll have a full weather forecast here in a couple of minutes, so stand by. World leaders, including the president of Ukraine, congratulating Donald Trump for his victory in the presidential election last evening. ABC's Patrick Reevell. He has details from the foreign desk.
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky was one of the first world leaders to congratulate President Donald Trump. Zelensky on X calling Trump's victory impressive and expressing hope for continued U.S. support. The speed of Zelensky's message underlining the uncertainty whether Trump will continue strong U.S. aid to Ukraine. He has previously said he will end the war in 24 hours through negotiations with Vladimir Putin, some fearing Ukraine could be forced into an unfavorable peace. Zelensky saying he hopes to congratulate Trump in person soon. Patrick Reevell, ABC News, London.
The leader of America's strongest ally in the Middle East, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, he put out a statement even before Trump was officially declared the winner of the election last night. ABC's Britt Clinette is in Tel Aviv.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, one of the first world leaders to congratulate Donald Trump on winning the U.S. presidential election, calling the former president's victory history's greatest comeback. He added that Trump's return to office offered a new beginning for America, a powerful recommitment to the great alliance between Israel and America.
That is the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
Thank you, Jay. It's Chris Hand here for my friends at Paul Winkler, Inc. You know, we've been talking before the election that you never know what's going to happen with an election, but Paul can help you with your investments no matter what happens. And I have a feeling Paul is feeling pretty good about your investments today. If you don't have a plan for your retirement, you want to get ahead of that, you got to do it with a guy that you can trust. And Paul Winkler is who I trust. Now, I do get paid to do these commercials, but I don't get paid to be a client. I'm a client because I trust Paul. I actually first got introduced to Paul listening to his weekend show, the Investor Coaching Show here on WTN. And when I started working here, I was like, man, Paul seems like a good guy. Can I meet Paul? And when I met him, he's the same guy you hear on the radio. It's like, I'm sold. And I trust Paul and his team. They don't do anything on commission. They really do focus on education, though, and they can walk you through every step and decision that they'll help you make to get you towards a place of financial security. Talk to one of his degreed planners today. Set up a 15-minute phone call online, paulwinkler.com. That's paulwinkler.com.
This race and will return to the White House as this country's 47th president. And for so many of you watching right now, that news is, to say the least, a lot to digest.
Yeah, it's a lot to digest. That's Jen Psaki being forced to call the election for President Trump. I love it.
Make you happy a little bit?
Oh my gosh. It's like, you ever remember when you were a kid, like Christmas morning, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm just tickled pink. You know what I mean? Like everywhere I look is just joy is overflowing.
This is what real joy is.
That's how I feel. All right, so I think John Tillman from the American Culture Project, maybe he's going to call in an hour?
Maybe, we'll see.
We'll find out.
Fingers crossed.
You know how it is with time zones.
Yeah.
They're hard. But we live in the best time zone. Like, par none.
Oh, for sure, yeah. That's why everybody's based off of us.
I don't care what anybody says. All right, so Jen Psaki, the moment that she has to call this race on MSDNC, glorious. Absolutely glorious. You can hear the pain in her voice. She doesn't want to have to do this, but she has to do it.
NBC News can now project that Donald Trump has won the state of Wisconsin, which means he is the winner of this race and will return to the White House as this country's 47th president. And for so many of you watching right now, that news is, to say the least, a lot to digest. I understand that personally. After he lost 4 years ago, he refused to accept the outcome and incited a violent insurrection on our nation's capital. He's campaigned while facing criminal indictments related to his efforts to overturn the 2020 results, and he's run as a convicted felon.
And he won, and he still won. Cry more, cry more. Listen, I know. I said I'm having a tough time walking that line of doing the good, honest Christian thing of like being gracious in victory and you know, being humble. And then listening to Jen Psaki and being like, cry about it. I have these two conflicting voices on my shoulder. One of them is saying, chill, bro. Like, you know, act like you've been here before. And the other one is like, hammer them. Hammer them with everything you have. I'm really having a tough time with it. I am. I feel like as the day goes on, I'll lean more into hammering before I lean back into being humble. But oh, he's a convicted felon. He tried to overturn the election. Oh, and he won. He won. I'm here for it.
During this campaign, he has also promised to essentially be an authoritarian leader.
And he won. He campaigned on being an authoritarian. And he won. He won.
To use power like no American president ever has before, and wield that power to go after his political enemies.
Oh no. And he won. And he won. He won. Karma. Let's look into Nancy Pelosi's stock trading. Can we do that? Let's look into the money in Ukraine. Let's see who's getting kickbacks. Can we do that? Let's have RFK. Let's unleash him on the FDA and the CDC and the NIH. Let's do that. I for one, would like to see some power wielded around. I would like to see this country get cleaned up. Poor Jen Psaki. Oh, it's tough to process. I'm having such a tough time. I imagine you are. I imagine you are. You're in your liberal echo chambers, enjoying the smell of your own farts, and you didn't see this coming. But we did, because we've been keeping score. And we understand how you have failed the American people time and time again, this Democrat establishment, this mainstream media establishment. And the American people last night said, no more. Gosh, it was a good moment. It's going to be burned in my memory for years to come. Rick in Columbia, you're up next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What's up, Rick?
Oh, Lord, it's hard to be humble. Brother Chris, the Lord is good, and we praise you for this answered prayer, my friend.
Hey, I hear you. Thanks for the call, Rick.
Wait a minute.
What's that?
One more thing.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, thank you, sir. How about this scenario? Elon Musk goes to President Trump and says, Mr. President, let's not wait for Congress to appropriate funds to finish the wall. Let's begin construction today. I pay for it. My victory gift to America.
Wouldn't that be something? I'm here for it. And you know Elon's got the coin to do it. That would be pretty cool. Larry in Clarksville. Thanks for holding, Larry. What's up, man? How you feeling today?
Hey, man, I'm good, but I'm trying to, I'm trying to recover from, you saying smelling your own fart. I mean, dude, that hit hard.
Where's the lie, Larry?
No, I know. And listen, I got 3 dogs that do them, and just, the other 2 dogs will look and say, dang you, and get up and leave the room.
Yep.
But first of all, GNP Psaki gives redheads a bad name. And I should have trusted your opinion all along, but I was so anxious, Chris, until 2 o'clock this morning. I fell asleep, and I dreamed that the Democrats came up with 500,000 votes out of nowhere in these swing states. Then I overslept this morning, so I missed Dan's first monologue. But
yeah. I mean, I'd be lying to you. But I would be lying to you if I said that those anxieties and those fears weren't creeping in a little bit towards the end with me. I think everybody had those thoughts creeping in, even if you were full on believing in the mission and feeling like we're going to win this thing. How can you not have those thoughts creep in?
Well, and I truly believe that our Lord and Savior played a part in this.
Likewise.
But my question to you is, has Kamala given her concession speech yet?
No, but there are reports that she's doing it at 6 o'clock Eastern tonight, 5 o'clock Central. I'm sure that Brian Wilson in The Drive, they'll be covering that live and mining for salt.
All right, brother. Oh, listen, and I'm not a global warming theorist, but I do think the sea levels are going to rise because of all the liberal Hollywood tears.
Hey, you might be right. Luckily, though, and Larry, Obama has a house right there on the coast to monitor the sea levels, so he'll let us know if anything is going on. Tony in Chapel Hill, you're next on Super Talk. What's up, Tony? How you feeling today?
I'm still trying to go to sleep, my friend. It's for one, God bless America and Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I mean, what a day.
Amen.
Yes, sir. Amen. Amen. Almighty.
Yep. All the glory to God. I don't think any of this happens without him. I mean, and you can point to so many different instances, and July 13th really comes to mind. Mike on the road, you're next on Super Talk. Thanks for holding, Mike. What do you got?
Hey, Chris, how you doing today, man?
I'm good. I'm pretty good, believe it or not.
I heard that. No, I slept through the election, Chris. I didn't get up till 12 o'clock, so I missed it all.
You slept through the whole thing?
Yeah, I get up at 12 o'clock and go to Indiana and back, so I had to drive all night.
So you wake up, you open up your phone, you see the news. What's your first thought?
Well, I went to bed, kind of like that other fella was talking about. You're like, well, they're going to come up with 2 or 3 dump truck loads of votes from somewhere or something. But I got up this morning and I seen the thing, and I was like, yep, today's going to be a good day.
Amen to that. Thanks for the call, Mike. Donald Trump last night also talking about how he won the popular vote as well.
We are now winning in Michigan, Arizona, Nevada, and Alaska, which would result in us carrying at least 315 electoral votes, but it's much easier doing what the networks did or whoever called it, because there was no other path. There was no other path to victory. We also have won the popular vote. That was great. Very proud of that.
I mean, it's truly amazing, and then they don't have that argument. They can't say, well, the majority of the people didn't even vote for him. We got to get rid of the Electoral College. They can't. And Donald Trump was tremendous last night in his victory speech at, almost 3 a.m. on the East Coast. This guy's a machine.
That we can truly make America great again for all Americans. So I want to just tell you what a great honor this is. I want to thank you. I will not let you down. America's future will be bigger, better, bolder, richer, safer, and stronger than it has ever been before. God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I mean, the crowd was absolutely electric, hanging on to every word from Donald Trump. And, you know, a guy that was very, very excited to be there, none other than J.D. Vance.
He's a feisty
pumped.
guy, isn't he? You know, I've said, go into the enemy camp. And, you know, the enemy camp is certain networks. And a lot of people don't like to, sir, do I have to do that? He just goes, okay. Which one? CNN, MSDNC? He'll say, all right, thank you very much. He actually looks fun. He's like the only guy I've ever seen. He really looks forward to it, and then he just goes in and absolutely obliterates them.
You know, that was part of their media strategy, 100%. J.D. Vance was so good at obliterating the mainstream media narratives, Donald Trump making that point there. They did. They sent him to ABC and NBC and CBS and CNN and anybody that would host him. And every time that he was on one of those networks, I swear he had to win over at least one person. He's been a tremendous choice as VP. And Trump calls him up last night to make a statement.
Wow. Well, Mr. President, I appreciate you allowing me to join you on this incredible journey. I thank you for the trust that you placed in me. And I think that we just witnessed the greatest political comeback in the history of the United States of America.
Yep, he's absolutely right. Could you have pictured this ever? If they wrote this in a movie script, it would have been too far-fetched. Nobody would have picked it up. I know that's like, you know, the cheesy line that everybody says, but honestly, who would have believed this? Who would have believed this? It's 9:51 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We'll have more reaction from the Donald Trump win, from mainstream media to Donald Trump's camp to you on the phone lines at 615-737-9986. Get your calls in. Real quick, though, before Donald Trump becomes president, things are still expensive, right? You know, and you're feeling that, especially when it comes to health insurance. He's going to fix a lot of things, but right now, you may be paying too much. And if you're paying too much right now, we can fix it right now. All you have to do is call my friend Shane Ring over at Cover Nash. If you're paying for your own health insurance or you're looking for coverage, don't go online looking for quotes. You're going to get endless calls from call centers, and then they're not going to stop. But if you make a 20-minute phone call to Shane Ring, an expert with over 20 years of experience, he can give you all the advice you need for your health insurance needs. And the plans over at Cover Nash, if you qualify, they'll let you pick your own doctor, and they're 30 to 60% lower in cost than Obamacare. The monthly premiums are independent of your income, so there's going to be no surprise tax bills. If you're paying for your own health insurance, if you got a small business, if you're uninsured, or if you're on COBRA, call Shane. Call Shane. He'll save you some money. 615-465-0023. That's 615-465-0023. Learn more on his website, covernash.com. That's covernash.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in, and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
Donald Trump performing better than expected with traditionally Democratic voters. We'll have details on that. And also, the analysis of Kamala Harris's failed campaign has begun. We'll have those stories at 10 o'clock on Super Talk.
9:59 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. We're just doing our victory laps over here, enjoying ourselves. Man, you want to know something that'll make you feel even better? DC Bureau Chief of Mother Jones and MSNBC analyst David Korn, reacting on Twitter last night, said, Russia again attacked a U.S. election to help Trump. This should be a big deal. They're recycling old scripts. It's got to feel good. Oh, I'm here for it. How are you feeling today? 615-737-9986. We got a lot more reaction on the way. We're mining for salt. And we're going to be doing it all day here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Here's Jay Harper with the news on Super Talk.
Good morning. It's 10 a.m. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. We've got that forecast for you coming up, so stand by. Well, in the 2024 presidential election, Donald Trump posted a better-than-expected showing among voters in the 7 key battleground states, including the must-win state of Pennsylvania. ABC's exit polling shows that Trump performed well with white voters, union households, and minorities. ABC's Alex Prisha also says the economy was the driving issue that brought those voters to the polls.
45% compared to 42% think that they're worse off. I mean, that's a striking rebuke of the current administration. And look, you can look at that stat, and the president takes the brunt of that. 58% disapproving of the job that Biden's doing. But the fact of the matter is, Trump did a great job in messaging and tying Vice President Harris to Biden, saying that it would be Biden 2.0.
Now here is the former DNC chair, Donna Brazile, as she weighs in on the Harris campaign failure.
I thought she could expand with more young people. I thought with abortion on the ballot, freedom, democracy, that she could have a sweep and turnout operation. For every 2 votes that they got out in cities, Donald Trump was getting 4 to 5 votes out in the rural areas and the suburbs. And for whatever reason, the Democratic coalition collapsed in places where they should have been strong.
Back here in Nashville, local voters seemingly agreed to a sales tax increase to help pay for Mayor Freddie O'Connell's Choose How You Move transit plan. Here he is proclaiming victory last evening.
Across this city now, for the next generation, we will all enjoy the things we deserve: sidewalks, signals, service, and safety.
The plan includes dozens of miles of new sidewalks, hundreds of traffic signal upgrades, and 24/7 bus service with transfer stations throughout the county. That is the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
10:06 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Last night, a message was sent to those men north of Richmond, and the American people said, no more. No more. Joining us on the line now from the American Culture Project, their CEO, John Tillman, with his instant reaction to what happened last night. John, thanks for joining the show.
My instant reaction, Chris, is sleep is overrated. What a fun night to watch the returns till 3 a.m, right?
Have you gotten any sleep?
I've gotten about 2.5 hours, and that's all you really need with this kind of adrenaline rush. I'm sure I'll crash mid-afternoon. But it's been a wonderful for those of us who believe in America, think of America as an exceptional place where dreams do come true, no matter who you are, no matter where you come from, whether rich or poor, black, white, or brown. This is a tremendous victory. It's a victory about empowering the American people instead of empowering the government to tell us how to live our lives. And the fact that he won the popular vote, I think, is really crucial to trying to find the healing pathway forward. So I'm very excited about the results.
Yeah, the popular vote is stunning. I imagine that the analysts on left-wing media today will say, we didn't know there were so many Nazis in the country. But how did we mobilize these key voting blocks, whether it's Gen Z or the black vote or the Latino vote? I know that you're really involved in that ground game. How did they get that to happen?
A bunch of different ways. First of all, the technology that's available today to directly market one-to-one to individual voters is unbelievable. The 20th century was the century of mass communications. The 21st century is the century of one-to-one communications. So a lot of the work that we did, for example, we were heavily involved in Georgia and to some degree in Michigan, and obviously some in Illinois. In every case, you segment people down to kind of their individual life situation. The way the Democrats want to segment people is by their group identity. You think of you as a black person, I'm going to talk to you like a black person, or a Hispanic person, or an immigrant, or a woman, or a single woman, and they customize their messaging that way. What happened on the other side, the Trump side, and all the people running nationwide, and the work that we did is we tried to figure out where people were living. What is going on in your life? Are you able to fill up your gas tank when you go? Can you buy the same groceries you did? And customize messages to those individual people that were persuasive and move people to change their minds about how they were voting. I'm optimistic, Chris, that we will look back on the 2024 election as the beginning of the end of the cancer in America called group identity politics.
Lord, wouldn't that be a blessing? That one-to-one connection, I believe, is why talk radio is still as powerful as it is. Was it a deliberate strategy to go for that one-to-one connection?
Absolutely. We've been doing this for many years now. We sort of pioneered digital media, back in 2012 in one of my other organizations. And we now have an associated marketing agency that does a lot of this work for us that really specializes in identifying the audience we want, modeling those audiences, doing a huge amount of testing of different messages. One of the things, Andrew Breitbart was famous for saying that politics is downstream of culture. The reason that we're called the American Culture Project is because the other side of that coin is that you persuade people upstream of the election. So we are trying to get to the headwaters. What that means is we've been talking to these voters for many, many, many months, long before the election got ripe, and working on it in the long form. As you just pointed out, your form is a long form. You get to have extended conversations that don't happen in a 30-second ad or a piece of mail that shows up at somebody's house. Podcasts are the same thing. What we're doing is a long form, small bits, but long form communication long before the election, and that's how you persuade people.
So what happens next? What is the Democrats' course of action this morning? Like if you're looking at the opposition and you're saying, okay, they're going to have a to-do list, what do you think is on their list this morning?
Well, I think the number one thing that most Democrats are doing in terms of their action this morning is going out to Costco or their grocery store and buying tissue to dry up their tears.
I've heard Kleenex stock is through the roof.
I couldn't resist that one. But the other thing they're going to do is try to find. First of all, they have not settled into any kind of humbling self-reflection, which usually when you lose, you should have a little bit of humbling self-reflection. And they are doubling down on their point of view. Shocking that people don't like to be called Nazis, Neanderthals, garbage.
Anti-American,
like
phobe,
anti-American,
fill in the blank.
And especially when You're having trouble making your groceries, buying your groceries every week for your family. You can't fill up the gas tank. You're putting in $20 and prepaying instead of filling the tank up. You can't pay your heating bill because energy, or your electric bill because energy is so expensive because we've abandoned our energy independence. These are all where people actually live their life. Trump won 24% of black men. He won a majority of 18 to 29-year-old men. This tells you that people are voting where their lives are, and Trump was appealing to them. Trump is no candidate is perfect. But the other side, in terms of what they should do, they should take some self-reflection. Unfortunately, I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to double down on trying to oppose him as opposed to finding accommodation, and I think that's going to be a strategic error.
Yeah, I think if you were betting today, it would be safer to bet for a Kamala Harris victory than the Democrats having some self-reflection.
I think that's exactly right. That self-reflection doesn't come naturally to them. The other thing I don't understand, and I'll use a provocative word, is their bigotry toward the American people. Think about how bigoted they are to call all these people, especially African Americans voting for Trump. They just disparage them and call them the worst possible names, and in general. But, one of the questions you asked earlier is, where do these votes come from? Who knew there were so many Nazis in the United States and fascists and so forth? A lot of these numbers on that national popular vote came out of Democrat strongholds. When you look at New York, California, Illinois, a good example in Illinois, Trump lost last time by 16 points, 17 points. He only lost Illinois by 8 points because Chicago voted in bigger numbers for Trump than they ever have in recent memory. In New Jersey, he lost it by 12 or 14 points last time. He only lost it by 5 points. These are Democrat strongholds. Democrats flipped and voted. So some of those Nazis apparently are former Democrats.
Well, and these Nazis are seeing the effects of the Democrat policy in their own neighborhood. Chicago in particular, we've been playing clips for months now where the locals are like, guys, you're prioritizing illegal aliens over us. What's going on?
Yeah, exactly. Brandon Johnson, the former Chicago Teachers Union employee who's now the mayor, won in a one of the closest, I think the closest race in Chicago history for mayor last year. His approval rating now is down to 14% in the city of Chicago. To give you some idea, Donald Trump, I haven't got the numbers from Chicago yet, but I'm guessing he won somewhere north of 20% of the Chicago vote. So hear this. Donald Trump is more popular in the city of Chicago than Brandon Johnson, the city mayor. That tells you we're in a different world.
100%. I mean, and you have to understand these voters that they've been dealing with Democrat rule for decades now. It's like, what would it hurt trying the other side?
So we've done a huge project appealing to African-American men, and that is one of the most important things that we have been hearing, that they have been giving their loyalty to this party for decades, and what do we have to show for it? We have heard that from African-American men and some women over and over and over again in all of our African-American outreach.
Well, and there's a popular meme online where it shows a picture of Nagasaki after the atomic bomb and a picture of Detroit around the same time. It says, an atomic bomb, easier to come back from than Democrat rule. I
haven't seen that. That's good. I might have to go find that.
It's just the truth. All right, so what is Trump doing today? What's his next move?
I'll bet he's golfing today. No, he should. He needs a day off.
I don't want him anywhere near a golf course. I want him locked in a basement until Inauguration Day.
That's funny. I was talking to a friend. I'm sort of surprised they let him live until this day, and now we have to pray and hope for safety, and that the Secret Service has put the A team on the program instead of the C team.
I mean, honestly, if they think he was dangerous as a candidate, they have to think he's even more dangerous as the president-elect.
Exactly. I think one of the things that's been interesting about Trump this cycle versus the previous two elections, and by the way, I do like to point out that Trump is the first person to win 3 elections in a row since FDR back in the 1930s.
Based.
That's my joke of the day. If you look at the numbers from 2020, something's odd about the Democrat count in 2020. 81 million votes, she only gets 65.
Well, I mean, John, Joe Biden was the most popular president in history. People just love the guy.
I forgot. Well, because he's certainly more popular than the deity that was known as Barack Obama. Right?
Oh my gosh, absolutely! in Philadelphia and Detroit, there's no comparison. Let's not have our tinfoil hats on too tight. He was just, the people loved him.
I think what Trump is doing right now is he's making a lot of phone calls to his major donors. And he's making a lot of phone calls to the people that were key to organizing his campaign and running his campaign, and they did obviously a very good job. And then the third thing he's doing today is starting to talk to his transition team. One of the things that Trump did this cycle that was very, very smart was to privately fund a transition game plan. And they have a very, very good plan already in place. They have names on papers to different roles, and he's going to start working his way through that and getting ready. And I think what's going to be so different than in 2017 when he was inaugurated for the first time, he is going to be ready to hit the ground running in a way that is going to be unprecedented.
Oh, and I think that terrifies them. I think it's been underreported how big of a deal that actually is. I mean, he's already talking about appointments. And when he got into D.C. the last time, he didn't know anybody, and he was trying to, satiate the old guard Republicans by taking some of their suggestions, and, that turned into John Bolton. I think this time is going to be completely different.
In addition to that, I would say the other thing that'll be different is that because he knows how the system works, he won't get tricked or fooled, as you're referring to, by the old guard. But the other thing that's happened because of the size of his victory is that, there was this little bit of, certainly the media and the Democrats tried to portray this and amplify this, but there were some talented people who were a little reluctant to go work for Trump because he had that persona that was, negatively portrayed. Well, he just won a majority of the American people's popular vote, and he won it broadly across all demographic groups. It's going to, and of course, you're on the heels of RFK, Elon, Tulsi, Bill Ackman, and all the others that have come out for Trump publicly. It's now safe for super talented people to go work for Trump. So he's going to have a great pool of people, not just in the first year, but as the years go on for a 4-year administration.
You mentioned quite a few names there. RFK was a huge endorsement. Joe Rogan, that was a big moment. Bill Ackman.
Joe Rogan, yeah.
Which endorsement, if any, do you think played a major role in helping secure this victory?
Oh, I think there was 2 major events that happened that helped secure the victory. I think Elon Musk coming out publicly for him at the time that he came out publicly for him, showing up at the second Butler rally. I think that was really cracked the door wide open, because even though there had been others prior to that, Elon Musk is such a cultural phenomenon. And of course, he has the most amazing platform, which I'll come back to in a second. So I think him coming out, was the biggest one. Prior to that, RFK coming out, and especially the focus on health, because I think that is a growing trend, and that RFK really carved that out and owned that, and I think it resonates. It resonates with me, and it resonates with a lot of people I know, and I think it's the whole Maha idea, joining with MAGA. I think that was really important. But I think overall, the number one thing that made a difference is Elon Musk buying X.
Yep.
Now X, with formerly Twitter. That has been transformational. It has forced, X is the measure of accountability. Whenever there's incorrect information on X, it is almost instantly corrected. You cannot get away with lies and misinformation on X because there's so many smart people that crowdsource truth.
Yep.
And so speech is enriched by more speech when there's bad speech. Whereas the legacy media has completely augured in approval ratings in the single digits because they want to control speech, and they are very slow to correct, as has been exemplified by the CBS interview as part of their 60 Minutes, where they did that editing to favor Kamala.
I mean, I think that analysis is on point. We're talking with John Tillman from the American Culture Project. The last election, we joked about the vote totals for Joe Biden, but you don't even have to get to the vote totals. You can point to social media being controlled by essentially Democrat operatives and putting their thumb on the scale with the Hunter Biden laptop story and then some during COVID. That is absolutely a game changer, having a social media platform that is absolutely free speech.
I think one of the things that's going to be really fun to watch, Chris, is how the right, the broader right movement, the political infrastructure, the policy infrastructure, and of course Trump's and the administration in the House and the Senate, how the broad right work to try to create a unifying message and bring people together, which is what I expect them to do. Certainly was Trump's message last night, versus how the left would have acted. Rachel Maddow, certainly a good spokesperson representing the left. If Kamala had won, she wanted the government to go after Elon Musk, wanted them to control Twitter X's speech, wanted them to go after his contracts with SpaceX and Starlink and attack him. That's actually fascist. And I think it tells us an awful lot about where they're at mentally and emotionally and philosophically. They want authoritarianism. They want to control the way we live our lives, what we speak of, and how we submit to the will of them.
You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. We're talking with John Tillman from the American Culture Project. Real quick, I got one more question for you. Was this victory because of Donald Trump, or was this victory because of the left? And could DeSantis have pulled off a victory like this?
Neither. This victory has been brewing among the American electorate for 20 years. There's been discontent since the second Bush administration after 2004. People on the right who want a common sense, fiscally responsible, pro-business, community and family have been disaffected from both parties. Trump saw that, and when the Tea Party started dying down, got in front of the parade, recognized it, became the leader of it, and has done a magnificent job doing so.
John Tillman from the American Culture Project. John, how can we find you, and how can we support what you guys are doing?
On X at John M. Don't forget the M at John M. Tillman. And our website is amculture.org. And thanks for having me on, Chris.
Hey, anytime, John. I really appreciate you taking some time to talk with us. John Tillman from the American Culture Project. We'll have you on again, man. I appreciate the call. It is 1022 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Ann, and I got to tell you about my friends at United Structural Systems, USS. When you have those home repairs, you got to call the best. You got to call USS. And these guys have been doing it in Middle Tennessee since 1994. And this week, we got to tell you about United Structural Systems sponsoring the Run to Remember Tristan 5K and 1 mile fun run in Pleasant View, Tennessee. See, these guys are in the community, and they do these kind of things, and this is why we love them. Saturday, November 9th, 7 a.m., the event is going to be held in Pleasant View Community Park, and it's dedicated to honoring the life and memory of Tristan Franklin, bringing friends and family together to celebrate his legacy. I love that these guys are doing this. And in addition to celebrating Tristan's life, this event is a fundraiser to raise money for the Tristan Franklin Foundation. It's an organization with the mission to support and equip Cheatham County student athletes. All proceeds from the race are going to go directly toward providing scholarships for student athletes in Cheatham County and eventually leading to the construction of a track with many more plans in mind to honor Tristan. Our hearts and thoughts are with Tristan and his family. And if you want to join USS in signing up for this fun run to remember Tristan in the Tristan Memorial Race and Fun Run this Saturday, visit runtoremembertristan.com. That's runtoremembertristan.com. And you spell Tristan, Tristin. Tristin. Runtoremembertristan.com.
Now that Donald Trump has been elected as the 47th president of the United States, the task of appointing federal employees for his administration gets underway. And what happens now with Mr. Trump's court cases? We'll have those stories at 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$10:28 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You know, we couldn't get through the show without playing the new Trump AI.
That's wild.
It's so good. It's so quick. So the guy that does this, he's high res. He's a rapper. He's conservative. He's actually super talented. But he must have wrote this beforehand.
Oh,
right?
100%. Yeah.
He had to have this like ready to go in the can.
Yeah, he probably wrote it, voiced it, and then had the AI track to his voice to sing it. Oh,
yeah,
my
yeah.
goodness, that's so good.
You don't do that at 3 a.m.
No, that's not a casual pass.
So
pass
good.
at it. No,
so good. We're basking in the glow of victory here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Got a couple people that have been waiting on the line for a minute, and I appreciate you guys holding as long as you do. Murphy in the borough, you're next on Super Talk. What's up, Murph? Murphy, going once, going twice. All right, we'll put Murphy back on hold, and we'll go to, Murphy. Murphy, you there?
Sorry, Chris.
No, you're good, man. What's up?
How disingenuous the other side is. I saw it early this morning on the MSNBC where they had, who I think Byron Jones is a wonderful human being from all I know. He was on there, and I think he's the guy from Florida. He was on there.
Byron Donalds?
I'm
okay.
sorry. Thank
No. Cool. You're cool. I just want to make sure we had the right guy.
I think he's a great human being.
Me too.
And the question to him was, Mr. Donald, all the people that were here that did not cross the border, what is Donald Trump's plan to protect them, to keep them safe, and let them grow in their life? And I looked at that. I said, you got to be kidding me. When did that other side, the last 4 years, care about the people that were already here? And these people are asking that question on day one, and it makes my blood boil, and I got to go.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I'm gonna find that Byron Donalds clip. I appreciate you, Murphy. MSNBC's have been in full meltdown all morning long. You should hear Joe Scarborough's reaction. I'll play it for you next. He was talking with Al Sharpton. I'll find that Byron Donalds clip as well. Byron Donalds, also, for the record, classy guy. When we were in Florida for Believer Summit with Turning Point, Trump was speaking. Byron Donalds made his way to the crowd, found a World War II veteran in a wheelchair who was in the back of the crowd, and brought him up to the front. Byron Donalds is one of the classiest guys ever. I shook his hand when he did that, and it was an impressive handshake. It wasn't weak. You know, you ever get that weak handshake, and you're like, I wish I didn't shake your hand because I liked you before this. And now I'm questioning everything. That wasn't the case with Byron Donalds. I'll find that Byron Donalds clip. Plus, I'll bring you the meltdown from Joe Scarborough and MSNBC, MSDNC next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. It's 10:30, and I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. Hang in there. We'll have that forecast for you here in just a bit. Well, in the 2024 presidential election, Donald Trump posting a better-than-expected showing among voters in the 7 key battleground states, including the must-win state of Pennsylvania. ABC News exit polling shows that Mr. Trump performed well with white voters, union households, and minorities. ABC's Alex Prescia also says that Trump will have to appoint thousands of federal employees even though he ran on a campaign pledge to cut or perhaps even completely eliminate some government agencies.
He's got 4,000 political appointees. 1,200 of them have to have Senate confirmation. So, I think he's laid out some big picture ideas, but in terms of the details behind them and even the personnel that would be used to carry such ideas out, it's still really early.
And as we all know, there are a number of ongoing court cases against Donald Trump involving dozens of charges. There are also 3 civil cases. Questions now. What happens to all these? Here's ABC's Aaron Katursky.
Reclaiming the presidency, maybe Donald Trump's get-out-of-jail-free card. Trump has said he would fire special counsel Jack Smith within 2 seconds, erasing the 2 federal prosecutions he's brought, one over subverting the 2020 election, the other for retaining classified documents. Now, Smith could try to turn over the January 6th case to career prosecutors, maybe issue a report about his findings, but Trump, in all likelihood, would face no legal consequences.
That is the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
10:38 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chris Hand. We're basking in the glow from the victory last night. Thank you to everybody that came out to our election night watch party at the Wilson County Fairgrounds. That was just an absolute blast. We love hanging out with you guys. Thank you to everybody that watched on the stream or listened on air to our coverage. We appreciate you guys. We can't do anything without you. Like, honestly, we have the best listener fan base that I've ever seen in radio, and you guys are clutch, absolutely clutch. So I want to get your instant reaction to that win last night from DJT. 45 and 47. Kevin in the borough has been holding for a minute. I appreciate you, Kevin. What do you think about the win last night? Kevin. All right, we'll put Kevin on hold. He's been on hold for a minute. It's not his fault. Freddie in Summertown. What do you got?
Hey, yeah, I just want to say praise God for the results, because without him, we wouldn't have this kind of result. I do want to say this is my first-time caller. I've been listening for a long while. I appreciate you guys. Bless you guys in every way. I did want to ask when the plane was leaving that was going to carry everyone out of the United States that really didn't want to be here.
Yeah.
Because I'm offering free shuttle to the airport.
I think we should start a GoFundMe.
Hey, I'm telling you what, praise God for all this. And I know President Trump is going to turn this country around where it was, and even better. And I'm speaking on behalf of the Republican Party, my hometown, Summertown, and all the Lawrence Countyans out there that I know our whole county took this for sure. And we appreciate you guys very much, and keep doing the great work. You guys deserve such an award. But thank you again, and I'll enjoy listening from here on out.
Man, God bless you, Freddie. I appreciate you calling in. Don't make it your last time, all right?
Absolutely.
All right, thanks. Freddie in Summertown. He's awesome. I like what Freddie in Summertown's saying, and I think a lot of people agree. Last night was awesome. Americans stood up and they said enough is enough. But you know what makes it just a little bit better is just the cope and the seethe from the left. And The View is one that I've had my eye on. I've had it earmarked. Like, there's going to be some good audio coming out of The View today, and they did not disappoint. Joy Behar, she scolds Americans.
Is that the system works. We live in a democracy. People spoke. This is what people wanted. I vehemently disagree with the decision that Americans made, but I feel very, very hopeful that we have a democratic system in this country. We should value it. We should love it. We should protest if the situation arises that we need to protest, which I'm sure it will. And I've been through this before with Nixon. It's been very difficult. But boy, oh boy, do we have a country if we can keep it.
Yeah.
So Joy Behar, she's calling for protests and riots now. And she vehemently disagrees with the decision that the majority of Americans made. The man won the popular vote. Cry more. Cry more. Sunny Hostin, she had something to say, too. She said that this was a referendum of cultural resentment in the country.
I'm surprised at the result, but I'm not surprised. As a woman of color, I was so hopeful that a mixed-race woman married to a Jewish guy could be elected president of this country. And I think that it had nothing to do with policy. I think this was a referendum of cultural resentment in this country.
Well, I think it...
the audience, they clap. She says cultural resentment. She's trying to say racism, right? I do. Listen, I think, we could probably agree if we're just taking her words for her words. Cultural resentment, sure. I resent the hell out of the woke culture that's been created by the left. I resent the hell out of the culture that they've been pushing on our kids. And I think a majority of Americans feel the exact same way. We're tired of the stupid books in the libraries. We're tired of the garbage that you're putting on TV. We're tired of the advertisements. We're tired of all of it. Yeah, I think it was a cultural referendum. People said we want to go back. The Kamala crowd, as it dwindled, chanted, "We're not going back." We said, "Get in. We're going back. we have to. We got to turn this one around." Kevin in the borough, you're next on Super Talk. What do you got, Kevin?
Hey, are you talking to me? Because my name's Danny.
Oh yeah, I am talking to you. Mason had it in as Kevin.
I know it. No, it's okay. I'm not going to hold it against you, Mason. I love you still.
Right,
no, this is Danny in the borough. About 2 months back, I called in after I'd gotten laid off. Talked about how important this election was for everybody. and how we just couldn't be complacent. We couldn't take anything for granted. We had to get out in big numbers and do the dang thing.
Yep.
And that's exactly what we did. And I'll tell you what, guys, the most satisfying part of this election is yet to come, because as Vice President of the United States of America and President of the Senate, Kamala Harris is still going to have to sit in that chair, surly-faced, and certify this election in front of us all. We get to sit there and watch this cow have to certify the fact that Donald Trump and the American people mopped the damn floor with her and her stupid ideas.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
Enjoy it, people.
I can't wait. Do you think she, Danny? Do you think she calls in sick that day? I feel like she might come down with the flu.
Listen, man, she's a dang lush, all right? She was too drunk to even come out and tell people she got beat up last night. She may just be tipsy as can be and fall out of her seat, and I hope we're all there to watch it. We deserve that kind of joy in our life.
Honestly. You know, her concession speech is at 6 o'clock Eastern tonight. I worry that she's got too much time to tie one on before we get to the concession speech.
She had to sleep off last night, or she'd have done it earlier in the day. I mean, but notice that it's long enough in the day for her to have nursed a hangover, but still after happy hour.
Honestly. appreciate the call, Danny in the Borough. He's a good one. Listen, who do you think got more drunk after their loss, Hillary Clinton or Kamala Harris? Ooh, that's a tough one. You knew. Listen, when Cedric Richmond. I always want to say Cedric Maxwell. He's an old Celtics player. Cedric Richmond came out. It was echoing John Podesta in 2016. Like, you could just feel the vibes. Hey, guys, we appreciate you coming out here in your sport, but you're going to have to go home. You're going to have to go home. Oh, it was beautiful to watch. It was poetry in motion, much like The View is today. They're one Republican on the panel that they always have. You know, they got to have a Republican. Anna Navarro, she's Republican. She was so disappointed about what happened last night.
I'm obviously very disappointed. I'm very sad. I was at the Kamala Harris headquarters yesterday in Washington, and it was a very sad scene. The mood turned immediately, and I tell you, there's a quote I get a lot of inspiration from, and it's a quote that I read when I was reading about John F. Kennedy. And
it's a quote I Googled this morning, Anna Navarro on The View. You know, it's a quote I love. I haven't heard this yet. I'm reacting in real time. I don't believe that she did anything other than Google a quote before she went out on stage. Or somebody put it in the prompter. One or the other.
It says, whether I am on the winning or the losing side is not the point with me. It is being on the side where my sympathies lie that matters. And that, to me, brought me a consolation and inspiration this morning.
That's good. Consolation and inspiration with a JFK quote. Hey, Anna, you know, if JFK ran on the same platform today, media organizations that you work for would demonize him as a radical alt-right extremist, right? Like, we're clear on that, right? And the guy was cleaning a rifle in the Oval Office. Like, ooh, guns, scary.
Because I have no regrets. Yep. I worked hard as hell.
No regrets, baby. No regrets.
To elect the first Black Asian woman president. History slipped through our fingers again. I worked hard as hell for Donald Trump not to be president. But today, unlike Donald Trump and his followers, I acknowledge that he won. I hope for the best for our country, and I make a commitment to our LGBTQ, to our immigrants, to our elderly, to our young girls, to the women, that we will not stop fighting.
Oh, that's a nice commitment. That's a nice commitment to our immigrants. Listen, legal immigrants are fine. If you sneak in, you got to pack up and go home. To our elderly, who is it that ramped up inflation? That was your side. For our elderly that are on fixed incomes that are having a tough time now, who caused that? Oh, it was your side. Who's promising no tax on Social Security checks? Oh, that's our side. You're going to protect your young girls? What from those illegal aliens that you're letting in the country? From the boys that you're allowing in their locker room? I'm going to make a commitment to our young girls, to the women. Oh, like Laken Riley or Rachel Marin? That you'll never stop fighting? Anna Navarro missed me with that. You never fought to begin with. You never fought to begin with. You took a knee to the woke leftist ideology. This woman's garbage. Garbage. Like, this is who Joe Biden should have been talking about with the garbage comments. People like this, who just subscribe to the woke ideology, don't put any thought into anything they say, and they just read it off the prompter. I got a quote here from JFK that gave me a lot of inspiration and consolation this morning. I was having a tough morning, and I found this quote when the producers handed it to me. They said, this is going to be on your prompter. Review this script. And it was just what I needed. What a clown. Chris on the road reacting to the win. You're up next on Super Talk. What's up, Chris?
Hey, Chris, thanks so much for having me. I actually come to you with a confession, and I don't think I'm going to feel better if I don't get it off my chest. So forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. I did not take the high road. I was super excited when I heard the news, and I had a family member that was a closeted Trump supporter but chose not to vote because they thought it wouldn't change anything. I had to call them, brag about it, and blast YMCA right in their ear.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. I've last night, as Donald Trump was giving his victory speech, I typed out a text to my liberal sister and deleted it like 3 or 4 times. I was like, don't do it.
I wish I would have. Yeah, I woke him up, but I should have let him sleep. But yeah, it made me feel a little better.
Hey, I hear you, man. I appreciate the call. Thanks for calling in, Chris. Let's go to Steve in the borough. You're next on Super Talk. What's up, Steve?
Hey, thanks for taking my call, Brian. It was great to see everybody at the event last night. And, I'm curious, man. I haven't been aware of the numbers this morning, but what was the final, total account for the votes from everyone last night? And how does that compare to 2020 when Biden supposedly got the most votes of any candidate in history? I'm just curious looking back on that.
Yeah, it looks a little looks a little different. It looks a little different. The last that I saw was 15 million less votes in this election. 15 million less? Yeah. It's a little weird, is it not?
They kept saying that this election was the most participated in, the most early voting, all this stuff. I mean, I just don't understand how they're still going to get away with that narrative from 2020. Not to go backwards, but I was just curious if anybody had done that analysis yet and just been like, things that make you go,
Oh, it definitely makes you go, And but listen, Joe Biden was so popular. People loved him. And 81 million people absolutely showed up and made it happen for him in 2020. But listen, as much as we can look at that and say this is a big red flag, and I appreciate the call, Steve, can we be honest with ourselves that these last 3.5 years, as painful and awful as they have been, have woken up a majority of the country, an overwhelming majority? We won the popular vote last night. These last 3.5 years, as awful as it's been, God will not waste your pain. And that pain that was inflicted on us under Biden and Harris resulted in this victory. And if Trump wins in 2020, what does the second Trump term look like? Well, it looks like impeachments and lawsuits, and he's going to get strung up every chance that they have. Now he gets to go in there with the popular vote support, with a mandate from the American people that says, damn it, we want you to do what you said you were going to do. I don't know if this would have happened without these last 3.5 years. The last 3.5 years sucked. But if the silver lining is this victory, let's hang our hat on that. It's 10:52 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
More reaction to President-elect Donald Trump's victory. And it looks like Governor Lee and legislative leaders in Tennessee going to make another run at school vouchers. These stories at more at 11 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Oh.
Throw it. Yeah, Texas. Texas, your best options. Oh, yeah.
Apple's going to have to come up with a whole new playlist, man. An election 2024 playlist. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast in 5 minutes. Election 2024. Let's check in with Sherry Preston.
Donald Trump on the cusp of being sworn in again as the next president.
I will fight for you, for your family, and your future. Every single day I will be fighting for you, and with every breath in my body, I will not rest until we have delivered the strong, safe, and prosperous America that our children deserve.
And Trump before his supporters in West Palm Beach, Florida last night, declaring victory and securing one of the most astonishing political comebacks in U.S. history. As for Kamala Harris, ABC's Mary Bruce has been covering her campaign.
I can only imagine what is going through her head as she has to switch gears and go from writing what I imagine she had hoped was a victory speech to now coming out and somehow, thanking her supporters, trying to offer perhaps some kind of explanation as to how we got here.
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky, one of the first world leaders to congratulate President-elect Donald Trump. Zelensky on X, calling Trump's victory impressive and expressing hope for continued U.S. support for Ukraine. Here's Patrick Reevell at the Foreign Desk.
The speed of Zelensky's message underlining the uncertainty whether Trump will continue strong U.S. aid to Ukraine. He has previously said he will end the war in 24 hours through negotiations with Vladimir Putin. Some fearful that could see Ukraine forced into an unfavorable peace. The Kremlin so far publicly reacting cautiously, saying it likes Trump's calls for peace, but will wait to see how he behaves in office.
President-elect Trump's victory will be studied and debated for many years to come. Trump's only the second president in American history to win another term after losing a first attempt at re-election. Well, right now in Tennessee, Governor Bill Lee and legislative leaders are making another run at school vouchers. This morning, they announced the Education Freedom Act of 2025. Lee says it will allow every Tennessee family to choose the educational path that best fits their child's needs. Some of the details in this one include making sure state funding to school districts will not decrease due to disenrollment, $2,000 bonuses for every teacher in the state, and 80% of all sports wagering dollars dedicated to building and maintaining K-12 public school facilities. Your heart health not being helped by a stressful workplace, says Dave Packer.
Even people without any known heart disease can see a negative impact on their heart health in a stressful workplace.
A study in the Journal of the American Heart Association looked at body mass index, diet, cholesterol, blood pressure, and blood glucose levels. It found that men and women between 45 and 84 who have not experienced heart issues will nevertheless have up to a 27% less favorable health profile when they're subjected to consistent work-related stress.
That is the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
I am Kamala Harris. My pronouns are she and her. I am a woman sitting at the table wearing a blue suit. And,
Okay. First off, a big mic in it. It's dead hang. West Palm against Mar-a-Lago is the gang. Locked up, tons of black fathers, that's a fact. I'll let Joe Biden say it though. You ain't black. Give it up, pack it in, sick of the cackling. Taking these arounds all way before Kaepernick. Locked up ever marijuana, you imprisoned them. You were smoking weed at the time, what a hypocrite. Montel Williams and Willie Brown. Guess you have a thing for Willies, but your dad's really proud. A crisis at your border, ignoring the reporters under you and Biden. $1 was worth a quarter. The new world order really wants you in, but it's Trump 2024. We're about to win. Bigly, hugely, trust me, I would know it. I still can't believe you believe Jussie Smollett. I'm meeting with rabbis, pastors, preachers, cops, firefighters, God-fearing believers. You're meeting with RuPaul, transgender teachers, creatures, cutting off their primary features. I'm working for God, you work for the Grim Reaper. On Soros's payroll, they should call you Caesar, cause every time you speak, it's a big word salad. I heard in college guys called you hot to a Harris. They try to do me like JFK in the drop top. The party of defunded police loves the top cop. You give it slap, come on, Lewinsky. When you talk in public, you always sound tipsy. You make Pelosi sound like Einstein. Not a worthy opponent, but I guess I'll find time. Your bottom shelf Chardonnay, me, I'm fine wine. Look at California, you and Gavin cannot fight crime. Bailed out rioters during BLM, then a few that murdered people wasn't shown on CNN. But I'm not surprised, that's just the fake news. And we all know that they pay you, I stay true.
we did it. We
I just say really quickly, too, Democrats need to be mature, and they need to be honest. And they need to say, yes, there's misogyny. But it's not just misogyny from white men. Mm-hmm. It's misogyny from Hispanic men. Right. It's misogyny from black men, things we've all been talking about. Who do not want a woman leading them. Might be race issues with Hispanics. They don't want a black woman as president of the United States. You know, the Democratic Party, I've always found when you're sitting around talking, they love to just sort of balkanize everybody into these separate groups and say, oh, white people don't like women and black people. No, it is time for the Democrats to say, okay, and you and I have talked about this before, a lot of Hispanic voters have problems with black candidates.
Yeah, all right. A couple people saying it's not working on YouTube. But Joe Scarborough is essentially admitting that his party is racist and sexist. It's a weird flex in the face of defeat. But that's what they're going with. That's what they're going with over at MSNBC this morning. You know, it's our own party is just racist and sexist. And the girls over on The View, they're mad about uneducated women voting against their reproductive health freedoms.
Educated white women, is my understanding.
Oh, uneducated white women. Uneducated white women. Sorry, I don't want to miss the qualifier.
Educated white women, is my understanding. You have Latino men actually voting more for him, and you have and black men was not the story. We're not the story here because they voted almost 80% for the vice president. Right. So why do you think that uneducated white women voted against their reproductive health freedoms, and why do you think Latino men voted in favor of someone that's going to deport, says he's going to deport the majority of his community?
White women like being called uneducated white women. I think the economy matters, national security matters. But when you put people in these boxes, I think that's a takeaway from this. Right?
Oh, that's what the polls actually said, that they were uneducated white women who just, they voted against their own reproductive rights. These people. You're missing the major issues. Maybe these these women realize the danger that they're facing under Kamala Harris and more open border policy. Maybe these women didn't want to send their sons and daughters to fight in World War III, which is what we're staring down the barrel of with Kamala Harris as president, which, by the grace of God, we avoided last night. But Sunny hosted on The View. I mean, she's talking about Trump's win, and she said, now I have less civil rights.
I don't know. I'm profoundly disturbed. I think if you look at the New York Times this morning, the headline was America makes a perilous choice. I think that in 2016, we didn't know what we would get from a Trump administration, but we know now.
Yeah, peace, prosperity, no new wars, a secure southern border, we know.
And we know now that he will have almost unfettered power. And so I worry, not about myself, actually. I don't worry about my station in life. I worry about the working class. I worry about my mother, a retired teacher.
What? You're worried about the working class? Where have you been for the last 3 years? Why have you been shilling for Biden and Harris? You're worried about the working class, says The View. We're so worried. We're so worried that they elected the guy who said he's going to bring jobs back and get rid of illegal aliens who are stealing jobs. What about the working class? Well, we brought back the guy who's going to create private sector jobs and foster creation there, as opposed to a guy that's going to create government jobs. Does she even hear herself?
I worry about our elderly and their Social Security and their Medicare.
Social Security, Medicare. Yeah, we voted for the guy that's going to not tax their Social Security checks. You were shilling for the people that had rampant inflation and actually made it almost unsustainable, and in many cases unsustainable, for people to survive on fixed incomes. That's the people that you shilled for. Sunny Hostin, she's a mess. She's an absolute mess.
I worry about our elderly and their Social Security and their Medicare. I worry about my children's future, especially my daughter, who now has less rights than I have.
This is such a weird... I mentioned this last night during our live broadcast. I have a daughter. What are you saying? That you want your daughter to have an abortion? Right? Like, I don't understand. And it doesn't affect you, actually. Where's The View based? It's either California or New York. I think it's New York. Abortion is a states' right issue right now. New York is not going to get rid of abortion. You have the exact same amount of rights as you had yesterday. It's not changing. And trust me, I would like it to change. But at this point in time, it's not. But the freak out continues. The freak out ensues. This is where we're at. And these people are so delusional that Sunny Hostin even said Kamala ran a flawless campaign.
I mean, aside from buck naked dancing on the top of the table, I don't know what else she could have done.
I don't think she could have done more. I think she left it all out on the field. I think she raised $1 billion in 3 months. I think that she ran a flawless campaign. And I mean,
she ran a flawless campaign. Flawless. Well, I don't know. The results don't show that. Dave in Hendersonville, your thoughts on the election. What's up, Dave?
Hey, man, what's going on?
How you feeling today, brother?
It's a good day, isn't it, bro?
Yes, it is a good day.
I got a little quote from Tucker. Daddy's home and he's pissed.
Yes, amen. He is. He's back. He's back. I love it. Thanks for the call, Dave. Tony in Spring Hill, you're next on Super Talk. What's up, Tony?
Yes. Hey, real quick, on The View today, I've never been able to watch it but for more than 2 minutes, but I set my timer to tape it and watch it. But Whoopi had the greatest statement of all. She said that Kamala only had 2 months to get this thing together, and that Trump's been on TV every time you turn it on 24/7 for the last 10 years. And so everybody thought, well, that's my guy. Well, to me, they're to blame. The mainstream media are the one who put him on the air, every newscast, disparaging him for the last 10 years. So I don't get her point.
Yeah, look in the mirror. Look in the mirror, exactly.
I mean, It's ridiculous. I mean,
and Joe Rogan made the point during the conversation with Trump on the podcast that that's how you got popular. You said wild bleep, and then CNN thought it was hilarious, so they put you on, and then you said more wild bleep, and they kept airing it, and then you became wildly popular. They have themselves to blame every step of the way.
But she was too stupid to realize what she was saying. And they talk about him every day, and like I said, 2 minutes is my fill if I can go that long watching them and laughing at them. But today I watched and laughed all the way through.
Oh,
her explanation for why he won was just hilarious.
It's pure comedy, Tony.
Great job, and thank you for giving us the confidence that there was too many people watching for them to cheat this time, and that did a lot for me and my family.
Man, I appreciate you saying that. And listen, all that credit goes to, and I appreciate the call, Tony, all that credit goes to the RNC. I mean, we saw problem after problem popping up, and the RNC was on the ground, especially there in Pennsylvania, fixing those problems every step of the way. A lot of people were concerned, rightfully so. Rightfully so. We saw what happened in 2020. We're not idiots. They can tell us it didn't happen, but okay, we saw it. So, miss me with that. But I was very confident. I was very confident that we had a team in place that was going to do something different this time, and they weren't going to get caught slipping. And time after time yesterday, when you get a little nervous because X or Y is happening, they fixed it. They fixed it right away. When there was the voting machine issue in Cambria County, they immediately extended voting hours. When there were the issues about people getting cut out of line in Bucks County for early voting, they immediately extended it. The RNC was top notch, and you have to give credit to Laura Trump and the team that she put together, Michael Watley, all those guys. They were ready to go, and I think that you can give a lot of the credit for us getting the results last night to the RNC's due diligence. We got a lot more to talk about, and a lot more people want to weigh in with their thoughts. So we'll get to more of your phone calls on the way, and I'll play you some more unhinged audio of Leftist just breaking down and seething this morning everywhere. It's glorious. It's 11:21 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Kingdom Fence Company, you got to call Dave if you need a fence. Seriously. Dave's a good guy. He wants their fences to tell the story of your land, and they put their faith in their company so you can put your faith in their fence. No matter what kind of fence you need, residential, commercial, farm, agriculture, they do it all. New, repair, insurance claim. Even my neighbor actually sent me, he wrote me a letter, say thanks for Kingdom Fence. Sent me a letter. He said, hey, I had an issue with my fence. Kingdom Fence Company came out, great price. They did the job, and they were out before I even knew it. The same thing can be happening for you. Call Kingdom Fence today. 615-390-5891. 615-390-5891. Kingdom Fence Company, LLC.com.
More reaction to President-elect Donald Trump's victory last night. And we've got what Senator Mitch McConnell says needs to be one of the first orders of business now that Republicans have regained the Senate. Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell not wasting any time on his transit plan. All that and more at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Racist, fake news. But Kodak Mazo, I got love for my Haitians. They cool. The media full of these federal agents. Break rules. America first, these candidates hate it. And hate you. Keep it 10 toes down, stay true. Everybody, they were loving me. So the media was switching up on me. Now they all trying to comfort me and get a little piece of my money. Greatest president of all time. If you think not, you're mistaken. The only president I love more is them blue-hunted Ben Franklins. These rappers are flexing their cars. Some are flexing their house. My toilet bowl is made of solid gold. I don't need gold in my mouth. Government is full of perverts, ignoring the Hillary servers. Did Epstein really get murdered? That was my burner. Eating Trump steak, drinking Trump water. Trump towers with Trump daughter. Trump wine, I'm a super gremlin. I don't care about that loser Eminem. Trying to do me like OJ, just know the glove that don't fit. It's about to be a cold case. No love for a snitch. They call me racist. Fake news.
11:27 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm just running through every song that's made me smile during this campaign.
Don't need gold in my mouth.
It's so good.
Who is he slamming there?
I don't know. I think that was just fake news. That one's called fake news. All of these were done by High Rez the rapper. If you don't know High Rez, you should get familiar. He's just super talented.
Is he on YouTube as well?
Yeah. HIREZ. High Rez.
Yeah. So any of those Trump AI ones you guys are looking for, I had a couple people calling in.
They're all
so
there.
Good.
They're all there. And I mean, he's got so many, dude. So many. And I'm just a fan of all of them. So the last one I played before that was "Hit 'Em Up." It's like a Kamala diss.
Yeah.
Like in between the break, the boss came in, and I was like, ooh, maybe I'm gonna get a. Hey, that one was a little bit too far.
Yeah, just towing that line a little much.
He said, Chris, I love these Trump songs. They're hilarious. And I said, all right, bet. So we'll keep the trend going. Do you remember this one?
Yeah, Trump the Don. The fake stream. The fake stream media keep lying on my name. The billionth time that they keep throwing shade. They need a scapegoat just to keep shifting blame. I guess that they have a new world order to maintain. Russia. Fake news, I don't trust you. The mainstream media is suckers. They said the laptop was disinformation. They retracted this statement, but Joe was in the basement. I didn't say the KKK was good on both sides. That was out of context. The fake news went and lied. Gen 6 told everyone to protest peacefully. You can check the tweets for me. I got the receipts on me. Didn't say that anyone should go and drink bleach. I said, never mind, sheep will still continue just believing it. They said I made fun of a reporter who's disabled. Just another fairy tale lie, what a fable. The media really loves me, they just pretend to hate me. They said that I called my wife Melania Mercedes. Mercedes is the founder of the thing that I was speaking at. The media lied because they knew you'd be believing that. They said I overfed koi fish in Japan. Must have been a slow week for fake news yet again. I think that the left is just jealous of my tan. Oh, for me, I know the difference between a woman and a man.
It's gonna be a bloodbath. Everyone is so obsessed. Biden is Obama's puppet in disguise. All he really needs is some fake glasses and a mustache. It's gonna be a bloodbath.
I mean, the hoaxes. They threw everything at this man. Even in the last week, they said, oh, he's saying he's going to execute Liz Cheney. Come on. Miss me with that.
Man.
So good.
Rappers were not, they were not doing this.
No.
Back leading up to 2020, man.
No.
Absolutely not.
The entire vibe has shifted.
Yeah.
He won the popular vote.
Yeah.
You had liberal influencers coming out saying the Kamala campaign offered me $50,000 to do pro-Kamala content.
Yeah.
You had black activists saying, hey, Steve Harvey, you shouldn't have took that check.
I remember that.
Ricky Smiley, you shouldn't have took that check.
We're standing on business.
You sold your soul for the Democrat machine.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what did it get you? It got you an L to carry. It's 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We've got the full forecast coming up in 5 minutes, but right now, election 2024 reaction.
It's time to put the divisions of the past 4 years behind us. It's time to unite. And we're going to try. We have to try.
President-elect Donald Trump declaring victory. He gathered more than 270 electoral votes needed to beat Vice President Kamala Harris. Mr. Trump not only won re-election, ABC's Aaron Katersky explains.
The classified documents case has already been dismissed. Now the special counsel's appeal to reinstate it would likely be withdrawn. Trump's criminal case in Georgia, any trial now would have to wait until 2029.
Mr. Trump still facing sentencing in his New York hush money conviction, but it's unlikely the judge will give jail time to a president-elect. Donald Trump has also promised to pardon many of the convicted January 6th Capitol attackers.
As Andy Field reporting, Republicans also taking back the Senate, and current Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell outlines what priorities may be going into the new Congress.
We need to ramp up defense spending in order to prevent a direct conflict with our adversaries.
Here in Nashville, Mayor Freddie O'Connell's Choose How You Move transit plan with that sales tax increase passed. His team is getting to work today, putting together a list of projects on which to start.
If we have this conversation a year from now, you should be able to see progress on all three components of the program. You'll see service improvements at WeGo by next summer. You'll see sidewalks under construction, if not completed by, winter.
As early as today, O'Connell's team is going to start matching funds to projects. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Thank you, Ken. 11:32 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. One of our sponsors last night at the election party was Busy Bee, and they want to take care of you if you got relatives coming over to your house for Thanksgiving. They want to help ensure your home is in-law ready. You don't want the in-laws to be disappointed, and you don't want your relatives to be cold. Busy Bee has a limited number of 14-SEER 1.5 to 3-ton split heat pumps for only $69.95. That includes labor, equipment, material, and warranty. This system offers a great balance of energy efficiency, performance, and year-round comfort for your home. Or how about a $750 off upright tanked water heater with circulation kit? Or a free package upgrade for air duct cleaning. You just buy the basic air duct cleaning, and they'll upgrade you to the next package for free. For example, you buy the middle tier, you automatically get the premium air duct cleaning. Lastly, you can give a free Beehive membership to the in-laws. All you have to do is currently have a Beehive Club membership to qualify for the additional free membership for your in-laws. Busy Bee, bringing families together for satisfaction guaranteed. It's always Busy Bee HVAC, your Rude Pro partner. 615-775-7833. 615-775-7833. BusyBeeHVAC.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in, and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly. who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
That's it. Voters have seen him do it before. That's Jason Miller on ABC this morning. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Massive victory. Massive victory. Landslide. Donald Trump last night becoming the 47th president. I'm so gassed up. I'm so excited. And, you know, the last 3.5 years have sucked. And I said it a little bit earlier, but I think it bears repeating. We needed that. We needed that. We needed that suck. We did. We needed that pain. We needed that hurt. It woke up a lot of Americans. And if Trump had consecutive terms, his second term would look a lot different than what his second term is going to look like right now. A lot different. The Democrats would have been ready to roll with all those impeachments, all the scandals, all the hoaxes. And he very well could have been handcuffed that second term. He's walking into office for this second term with a mandate from the American people to do what he promised to do. He won the popular vote. He's completed the greatest political comeback in the history of politics, period. And he knows what needs to be done. And he's walking in there on day one with his transition team already working behind the scenes on their own dime, getting everybody ready to go. It's going to be a well-oiled machine. It's going to be a well-oiled machine. I'm looking forward to peace and prosperity and no new wars. When they say that we're going to have a new golden age of America, I believe it. I believe it. I'm here for it. And I think that victory last night is a massive step in the right direction. All the glory to God. I think God saved Donald Trump's life on July 13th, and I don't think Donald Trump would be here without that. I don't. This is a massive win. But it's time to get to work. It's time to get to work. Clayton and Dixon, what do you think about Donald Trump's victory last night?
Well, I'm going to tell you something, fellas. This is super nostalgic for me because I was 20 years old when Ronald Reagan was elected to his first term. And I believed everything the media said about him back then. And it took me about a year, maybe a year and a half, and then I figured out who was lying to me the whole time. So the reason why I'm calling fellas, do y'all think that the Democrats are in an almost impossible position? If Trump making all the inroads into the black community, the Latino communities, and he delivers on all his promises, I'm thinking that he will set J.D. Vance up in the catbird seat for possibly 2 terms of his own administration, giving us another 12-year Republican run.
Yeah.
Like we saw with Reagan and Bush. And I mean it, man. I went to bed last night worried. My poor little wife, she was worried sick. Something woke me up at about 1:45 this morning. I asked Siri. Siri was like, oh, they're still counting. And then I went to my little YouTube thing, and Fox announced it, that he was the winner right when it popped up.
Yep.
And I just about, and like you said, glory to God.
Amen.
I feel so much better now. I've got a daughter in her 30s, and I want her to see what I saw. And everybody as old as this old fella here will tell you, the change between the Carter administration and what the Reagan administration did was breathtaking.
Yeah, and I think we're in for a similar change. To your point about the inroads with a lot of the minority vote. Listen, I think that we're going to have to be honest with ourselves that come 2028, Donald Trump is not going to be a candidate anymore. Donald Trump is a unique individual. I don't know if the inroads Trump made with the black community are going to transfer over to J.D. Vance. Let's see what these next 4 years hold. And I also don't know. I don't know if J.D. is going to be the nominee. Listen, we have a strong bench. Is J.D. set up to be the nominee in 2028 if we have a successful 4 years? Absolutely he is. Is he the runaway favorite? Right now, for some, sure. But I think that we have such a strong bench that he's going to have to earn it regardless. There's going to be no sitting out the primaries like Donald Trump did this last time. It's going to be there's going to be a debate stage with J.D. Vance and Vivek Ramaswamy and Josh Hawley and who knows who else. I mean, I wouldn't put it past an Eric Trump getting in there and running. I think that that's something I would like to see. You never know what's going to happen. You just don't. So if we have a successful 4 years, does it set JD up? Yes. We're still talking about very different people. And the way that the country reacts to them, very different. We'll see what happens. I just think it's too early to call. Let's go to Robert. Robert, you're up next on Super Talk. What's up, Rob?
Hey, how are you?
Good, man. Thanks for holding. I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, it's been a minute or two. But hey, just wanted to get on and thank you for all the information you have put out over this whole cycle. That was a big deal. I am incredibly cautiously optimistic. And I say cautiously because we do not have the House yet. Nope. And I need everybody to hear this and remember this. If they win the House, they can flip the script and say, well, the people gave Donald Trump a mandate, but they gave us a mandate to keep our brakes on him. And look what they did with just the House a couple of years ago. They impeached him twice. Yep. The Wicked Witch of the West, Nancy Pelosi, right?
But you also have to remember, it didn't go anywhere because we had the Senate, and we now have regained the Senate.
Correct. However, why did the wall not get built? Because they had the House. They sued him every 2 seconds and then turned around to the media and said, look, he said he was going to build the wall and never built it. Meanwhile, they are quietly and sometimes not so quietly suing him to stop. That's why the thing didn't actually get built. Now, the Wicked Witch of the West is not dead. She stepped down, but you said this before. The Biden-Harris term was essentially a third extension of Barack Obama, correct?
Yep, and I think a Kamala Harris would have been a fourth extension. I think that's why he went out there and he was willing to lie and put everything on the line.
Absolutely. Now, what does Barack Obama say? His best effort, his best scenario is being leader, having all the power, and being behind the scenes. Going back to the Wicked Witch of the West, one giant in her district out there, so she is still part of the House, and I think she will follow the Barack Obama playbook if they win. She's got Hakeem Jeffries to take all the heat, and she can still lead everybody from behind the scenes as she stepped down. However, she is still involved. So that becomes a big deal, and they could really – and I hate to pee in everybody's Cheerios, but I hope I don't get deleted for that. Is that okay to say?
Yeah. I don't think anybody has any problem with pee in the Cheerios. I think it's theater of the mind.
But that's the reality. They could put a giant wrench, and believe me, right now they're desperate, and they haven't changed overnight like found humble pie.
No, you're right. Yeah, I mean, listen, I hear your concerns. I just think we're gonna drag them kicking and screaming into prosperity if they like it or not.
I hope you're right, and like I said, I am very cautiously optimistic. I think it all happens if we do get that razor thin edge. I think we're sitting at 206 right now. We need 218, and I talked with Dan Mandis about this back in 2018. It started out really good in California where we're leading, and it looks like we're going to win, and they don't call the race. And 2 days later, they find all these drop boxes or whatever they are, and they flip those seats in the House.
No,
and that was in California.
I hear your concerns. I hear your concerns. I'm gonna save concerns for another day. I'm gonna bask in the glow of this victory. We have the Senate. We have the presidency. Yeah, I mean the House could be a monkey wrench, but we'll still persist, and we're gonna be doing a heck of a lot better than we've been doing these past 3.5 years. That's for sure. Wayne is on the road. He's been holding for a minute. I appreciate it, Wayne. How you doing, man?
Well, if I was any better, I'd be twins.
What's up, man? What do you got?
Oh, hey. Well, when Biden first went into office, he had a stack of executive orders that undone a lot of things that Trump had done during his 4 years. We've suffered for that, and we do not need to erase the fact of what they've done over the last 3.5 or so years from our history books. They need to be in there, and they need to be known that this was absolutely the worst and most tyrannical administration that this country has ever seen.
Yeah.
That being said, there's a lot that does need to be erased that Trump is going to have to go in and either put back in place or create a new system to handle the things that Biden and Harris have jacked up over the last 3.5 years.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I got up at 3 o'clock this morning and went and looked at the Politico map and was like, oh, right, this looks good. I mean, and Reuters and Politico and Daily Wire and all, they all had different numbers. So it's like, okay, which ones are the right ones and which ones were, candy striped for the Republican and stuff, and it was kind of confusing. And of course, I turned on the television and watched a couple of things real briefly, and just was really excited. Going, well, you know what? No matter what they do now, Trump has been elected by the people. But the House and the Senate is so important.
Yeah,
it's so important.
Decision Desk does show that the GOP is on track to keep the House. So let's keep the faith and let's stay positive. I appreciate the call, Wayne. As always, it's 11:49 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Murphy. I think the pessimism is gone. I think we can safely say he's been pessimistic at times when it comes to the election. I think we can safely say the pessimism is gone. We'll check in with Murphy next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
11:55 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
We saying goodbye?
Well, we're playing the hits from
Slinging
the Trump
the hits.
rallies.
Oh, that's true.
This was a big closer for him.
Yeah.
You know? This is how they close the RNC.
I guess Pavarotti's dead, so he can't tell him to stop.
I don't know if we have to deal with copyright on this.
At least 2 of the 4 Village people say, yeah, play YMCA.
Yeah, that's all right.
fine.
That's all right. Murphy, are you still feeling pessimistic
I don't
about
know, guys.
the results of the election?
I'm worried about Arizona, honestly. I'm not going to feel good about it until Kamala Harris tells us we don't have to look at her on TV anymore. How about that?
Where do you think she's going to fall? Do you think she's going to go full Russia, Russia, Russia a la Hillary, or is she going to land closer to Stacey Abrams, I'm never conceding ever?
So I imagine, she never could figure out where she was on most any issue, so I don't know. I think she'll hedge her bets on this as well, and she will.
I'm not conceding because Russia interfered.
Right. Look, we understand. We see the numbers just like every other American sees the numbers, and the economy sucks, and Latinos. Did you see the statistics on? And I haven't heard any of the show today because I've been in bed because I was up till 5 o'clock in the morning. But did you see the statistics on Latino voters? More Latinos voted for a Republican nominee for president of the United States since 1972.
You know, Latinos tend to be Catholic and Christian, and when you make abortion a massive issue in your campaign, actually one of the only issues that you're campaigning on, you tend to drive away devout religious people.
Well, and I think more, I don't discount the religious issue and angle on this, but Latinos go to the grocery store and buy eggs, and they buy bread, and they buy the things that are necessary for their daily lives. The most Hispanic county in the United States of America is a county in California. It's 97% Hispanic. Went for Donald Trump last night.
Crazy.
These guys, beyond all of the nonsense and the ist rhetoric and the hysteria, they got it. They got it.
But to be fair, and I heard this on MSNBC.
Oh, so it's got to be true.
Latinos are not just misogynists. They're also racist against blacks.
That makes sense. So that tracks. That starts tracking.
It's actually, it turns out there's a lot of misogynistic racists in this country of all colors and creeds.
Oh, yeah. Just because you're a POC, and that's how we subdivide it now. If we're going to continue these identity groups, just because you're a POC doesn't mean that you're not a POS. So we got to figure it out. Now we got to get beyond. Oh, my goodness. Are we actually? Wait a minute. Democrats, here's an idea. Let's discuss the content of someone's character as opposed to the color of their skin when we diagnose whether they're good people or not. I know, it's crazy.
Whoa.
It's crazy.
Whoa. Let's not endorse ideas like meritocracy around here.
Could you go to bed last night?
I was really having a tough time.
I did too.
I stayed up for that celebration speech. I'm like,
oh, so good.
If Donald can do it, I can do it.
Absolutely.
They said he has no stamina. He's sleepy. That's what they told us.
And I'm watching liberals on Twitter tell me that, oh, my gosh, this is going to go on for 3 hours. Could have.
It should have.
Could have. Maybe should have. I loved it. Loved everything about it.
Dana White was awesome. He said, this is karma. And then it flashes back to the people at MSNBC and like, did you hear him? Did you hear what he said?
How about, there was a time in my life, I'm a golfer.
Yeah.
There was a time in my life that I didn't like Bryson DeChambeau. Those times are over, baby. I loved him when he had Trump on his Break 50 podcast, and I love him even more when he went on stage with the Dark MAGA hat on.
It was so good. Dark MAGA is just that's the move.
So I'm still concerned, guys, about a number of things. So we're going to break down some of my pessimistic concerns about what the polls are telling us.
Will you also be consuming liberal tears on the show?
Oh my gosh. It was so wonderful to watch MSNBC. I guarantee you there were no liberals watching MSNBC, only conservatives last time.
So
They'll get great ratings.
They'll
get great ratings.
They will. They don't understand how much this is going to benefit their bottom line.
Oh, no question. There's no question. Good for you, MSNBC. Donald Trump's improving your economy, too.
Joy Reid, you're getting that ratings bonus, I would imagine. It's 12 o'clock on Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
It is high noon, and I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We've got the full forecast coming up in 5 minutes, and right now, election 2024 reaction.